I reckon they still like you. You haven't been on for a while.
That's true.
What kind of shape are you in these days?
About the same shape as you, really.
Okay. It's just I've been reading all this stuff about you. This very public row between you and Sinead OConnor. And you two were pretty good friends, weren't you?
No, I didn't like her anyway.
You never liked her. What happened in November when she came round to your place?
Well, she told me she was a priest, and if I didn't do what I said, she said, me being a Catholic.
She was doing a kind of religious number on you?
Yeah.
She said she was going to shop you for heroin, isn't that so? And she did.
That's right, but I haven't been convicted of anything.
Yeah. You admitted there was some stuff on the premises, some heroin in your house. Yeah?
It's all sub judice.
Okay. It's just it's been in the public domain, it's been in the newspapers and so on. How did you react to the arrival of the Poison Blue? You know, based on the fact that someone that you'd known all those years had gone around and said, you've got to go round to Shane's house.
But actually, I'd like to say something more important than any of
Sure.
this rubbish, right?
Yeah.
It's a very dangerous drug, heroin,
Yeah.
yeah? And like, you should think very carefully before you take it, yeah? Yeah?
Yeah?
But that's the same goes for alcohol or nicotine, yeah? But like, I'm not a regular heroin user, yeah?
Yeah.
Okay?
You're not an addict to heroin.
No. But I am worried about the fact that there's, I know for a fact that there's school kids in this country taking it at the moment, yeah?
Sure, yeah. They start quite young, 13, 14 years of age,
Yeah,
even younger
and
sometimes.
like if you got a few cop cars and put them outside the school gates, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
you could bust the dealers, you know, like, you know, that would be very helpful, you know?
But when the kids read in the newspapers, and often they don't read the detail, they just read the headline, and they admire you, they think you're a legendary songwriter, and, you know, they see a report that you've had heroin in your place. She says that you took it in front of her, you snorted it in front of her. You know, it's not exactly the best example in the world for the kids.
There was okay. It's true that I did have some heroin, yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah.
And like, so like, she not only reported to the police, right, who were perfectly aware I had it, yeah?
Yeah.
Because they're all mates of mine,
Yeah.
yeah? Right, yeah?
Yeah.
And you know, there's occasional sort of like, Pachin is illegal, you know what I mean?
Right. You
Yeah,
would be an
right.
occasional user. Is that what you're saying? And they would be
A
aware.
very occasional user are aware of that. You know, they know I'm not a dealer. They know that my place is not a hangout for heroin users or anything like that. You know.
So what bothers you
Right,
most?
so Sinead, by publicising it as much as possible, has done her best, whatever her intentions, to publicise it, and you know, using your line of argument, yeah?
Yeah.
She has advertised it, you know what I mean?
You're saying that if you had used it quietly in your own home, if it hadn't been put in the public
that's what
domain...
I did.
Yeah, but it was put in the public domain.
By her.
And if that had not happened, that you would not be giving bad example, at least on the heroin front, to young people, whatever about the alcohol front.
I've never, even on the alcohol front, I've never advised anybody, you know, I mean, like, come on, this is Ireland, you know what I mean, like, everybody likes to drink, you know what I mean, you know what I mean, like, yeah, right, you know, like, yeah, like,
I think you've said...
Like, the point is, like, I would never advocate, and I would never say to anybody to live their life the way that I've lived mine, yeah?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah?
Yeah?
But then I think that everybody should live their life the way they want to, but they should be informed properly. But, I mean, after a certain age, you know what I mean? Yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah? So
you say you've no regrets, basically, about the way you've lived your life.
No, there's no point of any regrets, you know what I mean?
There's one thing we got off your website which said, you know, I've traveled the world, I've been everywhere, I've done everything, I've done every drug, I've been out every night of my life pretty much, I've had fun, and I've done all of this before the age of 30. How many other people can be that lucky? Is that how you feel about yourself?
Yeah. I mean, yes, I feel very lucky, yeah. I feel very lucky. I mean, like, three quarters of the world are starving to death. You know, like the idea of a decent, not a decent meal, but it's a bowl of rice, like, is something they dream about, you know?
Mm.
Yeah?
Yeah, and your life is a lot...
They live living without fear of being massacred, you know what I mean? Or, like, plague, you know, like, etc., yeah.
But would you like to be less dependent on drink? I mean, you have admitted that you're addicted not to heroin, not to cocaine, not to any of those things. You're addicted to the booze. Would you prefer not to be?
In England, I would be regarded as an alcoholic. In Ireland, I'll be regarded as a sissy drinker.
I'm sure there's some who would agree with you and some who would not. But going back to Sinead, your argument with her was over religion, wasn't it? You don't go with this priest stuff.
I thought we just got rid of all that crap. You know what I mean? You know, I thought that was the final chain. Not the final. Yes, the final chain. You know.
You think the people have been liberated from a priest-ridden society here?
Yes.
And then along comes Sinead?
Yes, they want to bring it all back.
What did you say to her? I mean, did you provoke her into doing what she did by your reaction to her priesthood?
I said I've had shit from priests all my bloody life, and I'm certainly glad to take any from you, not from a bloody woman, right?
So, do you think it was a fit of pique that brought her around to the police station?
What?
Was it a fit of pique then that brought her around to the police station, in your view?
Well, who can say, you know what I mean? Like it's different. I've never been able to get my head inside a woman's mind, you know.
See, there's a view that she's trying to save you from yourself, that she looked at where you live.
Well, I think it's bloody obvious that she does everything for publicity, and like, and at this stage of the game, like, she doesn't even give it, like, you know, I mean, like, she'll do anything for publicity, you know what I mean, you know.
What are the implications? What are the implications for you, Shane? I mean, you're back in court in March. If you were convicted for possession...
I'm not going to be convicted.
Okay, but if you were, I mean, for your career, pretty heavy implications, aren't there?
Yeah, but I'm not... It's been sorted.
It's been sorted?
Yeah.
Yeah. Because you couldn't go to America, for instance, if you had a felony on your...
Yes, but it's been sorted, so that's just as hypothetical.
Yeah. Your antipathy towards priests and all that, where does that come from? I mean, was there any particular thing in your life that, I mean...
Well, they excommunicated the first Doyle, for instance, you know what I mean?
The first Doyle?
Yeah.
But in your own family?
They excommunicated Pierce, Connolly, those people, before they were shot by the Brits.
I mean, that's kind of a very historical view of things. I'm talking on a personal basis.
Well, okay, they have I don't know. In one way, on 30 years ago, if that stuff had come out the way it did, you know, I would like it the way it did, you know.
What about priests?
About them being a bunch of sex criminals, basically, you know, like who are also who were indulging in all the things that they were making people.
Yeah, not all of them, by the way.
Enough of them to make it, the whole thing, a hypocritical pile of
If it had come
rubbish.
out 30 years ago.
Yeah, they would have been lynched in the street, you know, they would have been pulled to bits in the street, they would have been. But they haven't even been brought up on charges, you know.
Your folks are in the audience.
Yeah.
And Morris and Teresa, hi. Hi. I just want to say hello to you. Thank you very much for joining us in the studio tonight. Teresa, I mean, what do you think of what's happening to Shane, particularly in the papers in recent times?
Yeah, as far as I'm concerned, as I say, Shane is a son who's very, very talented, loved very much by us, extremely trustworthy, and of course of whom we're very proud.
Do you worry about him?
As regards your question about the papers, I do not think that in going to the police to report Shane, Sinead OConnor did the right thing. And may I make a point? If Sinead did it as a friend, as she claims, why all the publicity? Why all the publicity? That's not the action of a friend. She should not have spoken to the papers. That's right.
Morris?
I never comment on Shane's private life.
Right.
There's so much more to comment upon.
Sure.
His magnificent genius that I've had the privilege to have custody over during the formative years. You know.
I mean, he gets a bit of it from you. You were a writer, and Teresa was big into the music, so
yeah.
we can see the two sides of both of you coming together in Shane.
I think it comes from up there somewhere.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, but
and maybe to keep in with the fellow.
Can I ask you without, can I ask you without prying on any private matters, though, just as parents, do you worry about him all the time?
What parent doesn't worry about the children? Hmm?
I mean, he says that his drinking...
You're a parent, you must know.
Sure,
I mean,
but I'm just wondering, he says his drinking in Ireland is regarded as a sissy drinking now.
Yeah, but I mean, the whole bloody country drinks. You know, I mean, alcohol is the most dangerous drug in the world. Everybody knows that. I mean, it creates all the violence, most of the violence. You know, heroin is sissy stuff, as use Shane's expression, as regards violence, yeah? The only reason heroin is a problem is because people can't get it at a reasonable price, right? If you had licensed drug dealers, you know,
You're saying the violence...
Which publicans are basically licensed drug dealers selling a very dangerous product, and they don't use it responsibly normally. You know,
you
they
were
let
saying that
people
if...
go out in cars and kill people, and people go home and beat up their
But you're saying the
wives and
violence
children.
from
Yeah.
heroin is people looking for the money to buy their heroin.
That's right. It's before the drug.
Whereas the
before
violence from
the
alcohol
drug.
happens in homes and
Yeah,
on the
that's
roads.
right. All the time. Yes, that's a well-known fact. You must know that.
But still,
The law is a ass, as Dickens said, right?
yeah. But still, I think you'd probably prefer if he wasn't in such.
I'd prefer if
Bad
everybody
physical
were
shape.
off all drugs, including myself, you know, and I include alcohol in that, right? I've never touched any of this other stuff.
Yeah. By the way, can I ask you, were you a hellraiser in your time?
Never, no. I just had a good time, like Shane.
In spite of all your current difficulties, Shane, you're working away on a new project, 20th Century Paddy.
Yeah.
That's what, is it a single album, a double album? When will it be out?
I already put another album out before that, like, because, well, it's a 20th Century Paddy is an album about Ireland, the Ireland that I know through my grandparents and their people. You know, my granduncles and grandaunties and all those, like, you know, some of whom were involved in the IRA. You know, one of whom was a commandant in the IRA. Yeah,
Yeah.
in the 1920s, yeah. Like, and, you know, 1920s, like, the rest of them, like the house, like, I spent a lot of my early childhood in was a safe house, yeah.
A safe house for the IRA.
Yeah.
Well, look, we're going to have to leave it here, but Shane, thank you very much for being with us tonight, and we look forward to having you back with a few friends, I reckon, and we'll do some more music on the show.
Sure.
Shane MacGowan, thank you very much. Okay, stay put there for a second, Craig. Yeah, just for a second. Yeah. Okay, that's the end of part one. See you in a couple of minutes. Just